Alright guys, there's no easy way to start this video, but I'm just glad we didn't do it last week when this first happened. We were emotionally just wrecked.
We almost wanted to do it as soon as it happened so you could see how awful it was for us and like how the whole situation kind of unfolded and it was really fresh in our minds, but how low we were mentally, we couldn't even put it into words like what had just happened. We didn't know how to say it. So now it's a week later now and we've finally gotten to the point where we can even talk about it openly.
Yeah. Without crying. I feel like we've cried like all our fucking tears, man, for like days after this shit. Yesterday probably was the first day, started to feel actually kind of normal-ish. Yeah. But even still to say that it's not normal, it's just like normal-ish. We loved Halo so much. Every second we talked about him every
on the way
second.
Home from the gym, we would just talk about him the whole way, how excited we were to be home with him, literally in our minds at all times. He was like our best friend.
I guess we just want to talk about like what happened and actually raise some awareness for fucking like what happened. It was so fucking messed up. It was 2 weeks ago now. We got home one day just after a usual day out. So excited to see him. You know, I remember sitting down outside of the door and, you know, telling you to open it so that he would come like running out and like...
He developed this habit of coming to the front door when he heard our keys.
Yeah, when he heard you walking upstairs, he'd just come to the front door.
And you can hear him meowing behind the door.
He started wanting to like leave the house as well, so that's why I sat outside, because I knew he would come to me. Jim opened the door and his eyes were just like as big as, you know, it was just his pupils. We were like... what the fuck's happened to him? And he was like dribbling and stuff. And
it was like, I opened the door and I picked him up instantly because I was so excited to see him. And in my hands, I was like, something's wrong. Like something's really wrong. He couldn't recognize us.
He didn't recognize us.
He didn't know who we were. It was the scariest thing.
I guess going back a few months, you guys might have known that he actually had some kind of seizure. We just thought he was eating fly spray outside that was on the deck, on the floor. But looking back now, we know this was actually the first sign of... Basically, he had a disease called FIP, which we didn't know at the time. So when we got home this next time, he was just having little twitches. So like his eyes were twitching. We're like, shit,
his
okay.
Mouth was... Long story short, we went to our vet and we had this really, really intelligent man, and he actually specializes in cats, and he kind of prepared us for the worst. He said, basically, Halo has FIP, which is an incurable virus that mutates within the kitten's body, and it only attacks kittens usually while their immune system is down at the start of their life.
And there's no sign of it. There's no sign of it at all. And you start to get the signs a few months later. Yeah. So FIP it'll cling on and attack a kitten within the first, it's 6 months to 12 months. It's like, it only gets kittens, it's fucked.
But the symptoms are different in every cat. So our one was neurological. It was all in his brain. He had seizures. It can be a wet or a dry version. Halo had the dry version, which means he didn't look sick, but it was all neurological. Inside there was something wrong. With the wet version is when their kitten's abdomens swell and they look really, really ill.
Yeah. So going back 2 weeks, we had no idea that it was FIP. The doctor was saying, hey, it really could be this thing. We don't know for sure. If it was the wet version where his stomach distends, we would have known exactly what it was. But he said, you know, your cat could just have epilepsy. It could just be an isolated neurological seizure thing. So we went in basically after this night of him being fucked up. He said basically, look, it could really be this. You need to prepare yourself for that. We got his blood tests done. There was nothing definitive in the tests. So he injected Halo with some stuff behind his neck, some kind of steroids, and he didn't have seizures for like maybe 3 days after that. And we're like, thank God.
We thought it was over.
So Sunday, I literally have a video on my phone. I was filming Jem's in the kitchen making food. Halo's in his bed on the couch, and my office is open with the door, and listening to music, and I was just like, and I went outside on the balcony and I just was like, I want to remember this moment, because like life is just amazing right now.
Everything was falling into place.
And it, like everything was perfect. I was about to start a new series on my channel. So 2 weeks ago now, like a couple of weeks ago.
And I had just gotten a new job.
You just got a new job.
Everything was looking so great. We were so like happy with what we'd made.
I specifically got my phone out and like captured this video of just how everything was, because I was like, this is perfect.
It was like blissfully happy.
And then literally the next day, he started having the seizures again. It was every 2 hours on the dot.
On the dot. It was like clockwork.
We looked on YouTube and, you know, looked up cat seizures, and it was actually really helpful to see another cat having a seizure, and the person was filming it and saying, hey look, running through it what basically happens and saying how it's been happening, but the cat is fine. If it's happening, it looks way more fucked up than it is, but the cat's not like
conscious.
It's
doesn't know
not
what's
conscious.
happening.
It doesn't, it just happens.
And then when it stops, they come to and they're like, okay, they don't remember.
Yeah, they've got no idea. So that was really actually comforting to see that. So basically we went into the vet the next morning and they got him on as much medication as they could to stop these seizures happening. But on the dot, every 2 hours, we were actually in and out of the vet that week, every single day. It was just a crazy blur. The week went so fast. So the seizures were literally between every 30 minutes and 2 hours on the dot. And we just had to wait for the meds to kick in. The first meds were going to take 3 to 4 days to kick in.
Which was the worst part of it because we didn't know.
He just wasn't getting better for those first few days. And then we had to get some gel stuff, which we had to actually, I don't even know how to say it.
We had to anally inject it because it was the fastest way to absorb into his body because the seizures were quite bad.
Once that kicked in, his seizure would still happen, but it was less intense.
It was less aggressive.
I'm gonna put on screen, this is like an intense seizure. So this was before he actually, this is before we got him on all his meds and stuff, and I was filming a seizure to literally show the vet that day because that's what they said. They want to see what's happening. So it might look fucked up and like it's not like freeze away. I don't want anyone to think like why did you film that? It's like it's not like the first time it happened I whipped out a camera and got it. It's like this has been happening for every 2 hours.
And we were terrified. We needed to show the vets exactly what was happening. So.
I think at this point of this filming, as you can see, like it starts to come on in his eyes when he's just lying there, and it just starts to come on.
He could be dead asleep.
He'd be dead asleep,
and then and his eyes would be wide, and you could just see it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Every time.
And then basically, it ends up getting bigger and bigger, and it was lasting for about, the first seizure started for 30 seconds. 15 to 30 seconds even, and then by the end the seizures were about 2 minutes long. It was fucking horrendous, honestly. And this all happened so quickly that week. So this happened, I don't know, the days went so
we were basically looking forward to the next day, just praying that something was going to change, and the time ended up just going so fast and everything just meshed into one. Basically we can't differentiate between what happened with this day because the stress of it all, we were just kind of living. We were just kind of like doing it and hoping for the best, and it kind of at the end we kind of looked at each other, what just happened,
By the end
it was
exactly just looking after him constantly. We're always here, and
constantly thinking about it, constantly watching him.
We couldn't leave him in the house. We didn't want to.
We always had someone.
I was still going to the gym. Jem would have to stay here. So we're doing a lot of driving back and forth while one person did one thing, someone had to stay with him, or we'd take him in the car and, make sure we're always with him basically. We
made sure that we had the aircon on constantly, trying to keep him cool. We did everything in our power to make sure he was comfortable and happy and...
Yeah. But it was so fucked up. So basically between seizures, guys, he wasn't himself. So that last week, we didn't even see, it's like he wasn't him. He was... And the worst thing, man, it started off so he was physically able, still in between his seizures, but he'd walk around with a little bit of a limp. By the end of the week, he literally had no movement in his back legs. He was so, and it's, fuck, I don't know. I know this wouldn't help anyone else going through this because I know, but it will as well, but it's not good, man. FIP, there's no cure for it. It's just a disease which will just kill your cat in days.
And it's the worst thing as well. It's a kitten.
Your kitten, not even the cat.
Just, he had just come into it. We'd only had him for 4 months, but it felt like we'd had him for years.
He was our best friend. He was literally my best friend, guys. So what happened the Friday night? Fuck, man. The Friday night it got bad. He started having the seizures every
6 minutes.
Got every 6 minutes. And we were I thought he was literally gonna die. I'm this is it. By some miracle, I remember 2 a.m. just woke up and he had actually crawled out of his bed and he vomited and he took a shit as well.
Which was a good thing.
Which was really good because he'd been a bit constipated. This last week, we're doing a lot of research on seizures and stuff, so I had him on coconut oil, which he was loving. So
he loved it.
He was actually always eating between his seizures, which they said was a really good sign. They say it's messed up if your cat doesn't eat, because especially on the drugs he was on, it actually makes you hungry. So if your cat doesn't eat, that's when it's really bad. So we had all this hope, and then they took him to the shower, cleaned him up, put him on a towel, and sat with him for half an hour. He didn't have a seizure. I'm like, oh my God, like maybe he's getting better. He just vomited up. He's got rid of everything. Went back to bed. Our bed's just, really close to the bathroom, and woke up in the morning and he hadn't had a seizure. He was still drowsy from all his meds, but he started showing signs of his personality, and
we thought
he's
it was
made
a
it.
miracle,
We thought it was a miracle. And it was crazy. Like this last day with him, we thought everything was going to get better. We literally had him on the couch here, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get his toy and see if he even like notices it. Because he was looking at us, but he was still a bit drowsy and out of it. And I got his little toy, and I actually flicked it up above him, and he went and tried to grab it, and it was like he was back,
You should have seen it. It was so good.
Yeah.
He was with it. He knew what was happening.
And we
looked.
he was looking around at us and making eye contact, and we're just like, oh my God, we're so fucking proud of him.
We honestly thought he was gonna survive it, the only kitten to survive. That's how strong he seemed that day.
Yeah. And looking back, that was his last day, and we can only think that, by some miracle, he just wanted to give us one last day of actually, it was like him. It was his personality and
he
stuff.
He wanted to show us, how much he cared, and we honestly, feel like he was trying to show us how much he appreciated everything. I don't know.
We did, honestly, we gave that little guy the best life. So, yeah, that last day, we thought he was getting better, and then he was sleeping, or he started sleeping more, and it was by nighttime. It was like he was floppy, and
that's the first time that happened. He'd never.
We're like, holy shit, he's so tired, or he's just so exhausted. And then turned the light on, and then I went up to him, and he actually rolled his head back, and then started coughing. And then I was like, we need to give him his pills. And then he was just floppy, and it was legit. He had I was trying to wake him. And
we were preparing to do CPR on him.
Yeah,
his chest was
Jem
rising.
was really strong. She was like, we need to go to the emergency vet now. And she got everything ready for us, and the car keys, just everything while I was there, trying to make sure he was all good. He couldn't hold his own weight. We just I've never driven so fast. We just drove there, and
they put us straight into a consult room, which was a bad sign.
She came out, she was really good, and she's like, everything's pointing to the fact your cat's got FIP.
Because we still didn't know at this point.
We didn't know, yeah.
We were just praying that it was something else.
And she explained stuff that we'd see on YouTube. We were looking up seizures in cats, and there's so much stuff on dogs, and dogs being all good. You give them CBD oil, and you can get them on keto diets, and they're fine.
Dogs react well to
medications.
And
then she told us, when cats have seizures, they don't bounce back like dogs do.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. She said his nervous system has been so fucked up by this disease. It's just smashed him, and he fought the strongest fight he could have fought, and there was just nothing we could do. We can keep him on these fluids and stuff till the morning.
Which we were gonna do.
We were gonna do, of course. We would have done anything in our power to.
If there was more we could have done, then we would have just kept going.
She brought him in to give us some time with him, and I was holding him, and it's he opened his eyes, and I was hopeful. I'm and then he got the look, and his pupils started going big, and I'm like, no, he's fucking having a seizure, and he just started having this seizure, and I broke my heart.
That was the most
it broke my heart.
Thing.
And to see that last seizure, because of how weak his body was, and to see that this thing was moving his body in ways where
he wasn't there, and then this seizure had the ability to make him wide-eyed and move, and it was fucked. They got a pipe down his neck, and they said, look, that was the final seizure.
This was the final one, and after this, they talked to us about euthanizing him, and they said it's probably the thing you're gonna have to do. We didn't want to do that, obviously, but after the seizure, it was she's it's closed his airways. This is not.
She basically said he was brain damaged from it.
Yeah, and it's just fucked. The last 2 weeks have just gone so fast, and it's just felt so messed up. It's just crazy. Everything was perfect and falling into place in our lives. We felt everything
falls away when the main thing that you care about is in trouble.
And this is our little kitten, guys. When I did our posts on Instagram and stuff, I was like, no one's gonna get it.
But then it's a kitten, and you only had him for 4 months.
And then that's the thing. We only had,
It felt like years. We had developed such a deep relationship with him, and he was our pride and joy. Everything that we did was for him, basically.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed though by the amount of people who really reached out, and Like, I actually understood, man. Like,
It made us feel really comforted knowing that you guys like understood
so
the
many
feeling of a
people
loss
really
of a
understood.
pet.
Yeah.
Because they're not a pet, they're a family member, you know?
Yeah.
And we felt so alone at the time, and then you guys made us feel
Honestly,
way
yeah,
better.
it was unbelievable, man, the amount of support. So
And it's like, it's crazy to think that you guys are like strangers to us. Like, we don't know each other, but I feel like we do. And sometimes I feel like we have a better, closer relationship than our own friends, you know?
yeah, we're gonna end the vid here, guys. But obviously, you know, we want to move forward, and as well, like, yeah, the fact that, you know, I know how much it helped when I found some YouTube stuff on like seizures, like everything we're like, you know, YouTube. It was just going to YouTube and seeing if we could find some stuff to help him, or even just get a better perspective. We really hope this video can find, and I know it will, because YouTube's like good like that. We'll find the people that need it most. And if you're going through this, anyone else, I'm fucking so sorry. Hopefully they find a cure for this stuff. But yeah.
And I just want to say as well, it's not just shelter cats. Don't be scared to buy from a
Yeah,
shelter.
yeah, any cat can get it.
Any kitten.
Any
like
cat.
our vet was saying, the 4 cases
The
that
4
she'd
ones.
seen the week before were all pure pedigree kittens. It can happen to any kitten. So it's literally just it's a luck game. And we are petrified to ever have another kitten purely because this was so awful. But there's nothing you can do. Like, it can get any kitten.
Yeah.
So just don't be scared to buy from a shelter still. But
Thank you guys. Thank you guys the most, because like, it's been so fucking hard.
yeah, if you're going through this, we're really sorry. It's
Yeah.
awful.